Our community is strong because it all starts in the salon, with the salon owner, the stylist behind the chair, and the students coming up from cosmetology. So we don't want to leave that classroom or that stage until we really believe that we have helped somebody to make a better living behind the chair. We create community by including everyone. We are really open to just bringing everybody who cares and is passionate about what they're doing and sharing our knowledge with them. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? Welcome back. I hope you all partied it up last night like the crew here show, attending and had a great time. Welcome back this morning. We're going to be going over modern textures, working with the irons today, some of my favorite things to do on the clients, and in a direction that we're moving towards right now, more natural hair. So I'm really excited about that. Before we get started, I want to share what I get to give away this segment, and that is the Sammy Artist Series 2-in-1 Marcel Iron and Wand in the 1-inch like this. If you haven't worked with this, you are going to love it. It detaches the spoon so that you can, oh, let me get this one. Here we go. So the spoon just detaches right off and you have a wand, and then you can slide it right back on to get that Marcel action. So we're gonna work with that tool today. And then we're also giving away Redken's Bleach Recovery line, which is amazing. It has biotin in it. It's really strengthening the hair, keeping those ends long and pretty. So I'm so excited about those two giveaways. Good luck, everyone. So when we start talking about natural curly hair, when we return to the salon, what do you think our clients are going to start asking for? Hey, Andrew.
Hi, Anna. Sorry, we're having some issues with your internet already. Can you do me one quick favor?
Yes.
On the screen in front of you, there should be a little thing at the bottom that says Cam Mic.
Yep.
Can you click that?
Yes.
The drop-down menu, do you see the one that says Camera Resolution?
Yes.
Click on that.
Uh-huh.
What is it set to?
Standard.
Standard? Okay.
High definition?
No, let's try, does it go to low?
Yes.
Let's try that.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's gonna help.
Okay. Everyone see me?
Let's try that.
Okay. Sorry, everyone. It's so spotty right now. Can everyone see me and hear me? Okay. So talking about natural texture, when we return to the salon, our clients are probably going to be wondering what's new. And have you ever had that question? And in your mind, you start wondering, oh my gosh, what is new? Everything's new, right? Everything's happening right now. But it's really important that we have an answer for them and that they see we've been working on things. And the answer is natural texture is going to be huge this year, and it already is. And so teaching our clients to embrace that and how to work with that. So say our client came in with her natural texture, or we're teaching her how to work with this when she wakes up in the morning. And this might be what her texture looks like. This is just diffused with some Redken Curvaceous in it, one of my favorite products to work with on natural curly hair. So you can see there's some areas that aren't so desirable, maybe a little not as much curl. So how do we go back in on natural curly hair and define that and make sure that it matches her curl pattern and that it doesn't look like a curling iron curl? So there's a lot of differences in everybody's curl pattern, and being able to read that is really important. But what I've noticed a lot of is there's a lot of confusion. So some curls might move this way, some might come in and out in this manner. So going in and recreating that is something that's going to blend in nicely with their natural texture and just really enhance that. So if I took a section like this, I go in and I'm holding natural hair very loosely in my hair. I'm not running a brush through it. I'm gently holding it and going in with my Marcel iron, my wand. I'm going to just start kind of creating a bend in the hair, dragging that iron through vertically, dropping that out. Now going back in the opposite direction, curling that up and pulling that through, dropping that out. So you can see our curl pattern is going this direction, back that direction, and back this direction. And everybody see that. So it's not a perfect curl. It has a little bit of confusion to it. And look how nicely that just blends right into what she's already wearing, her natural texture. Then we go in and start doing a curl pattern that goes in and out in this manner. So taking that iron, turning it towards the head horizontally now, flipping that iron back over so the spoon is now on the bottom side, my ends are coming up. This is something that we call the ruffle wave. We've been sharing this, and I love that we're seeing more and more of this now. It's just a really nice way to get a lot of volume in the curl, and it was inspired from natural curly hair that's been brushed out and has that wave pattern that goes in and out horizontally versus a vertical wave. So mixing these two textures together on natural curly hair is going to really help to enhance what they already have, but not look like you went in with a curling iron and created the typical curl that we're used to. And just reading it, where does it need to be spruced up a little bit? Picking up those sections and reading that curl pattern. So this one is kind of moving back and forth in that way, so I'm gonna just follow that. And it's important that we move each curl in an opposite direction. So as I place my iron in pulling back, now I'm going to go in and I'm going to place my iron in vertically, closing that, turning it and pulling it forward. Placing my iron in vertically, doing one wrap around and pulling the iron back. So I'm going front to back, front to back. All right, so you could start to see really the definition and how that just really encourages her natural texture. Awesome, so let's move over to somebody that has finer, straighter hair. And let's do that same technique on this client and show you what that looks like. Okay, so taking this section, whenever I'm using hot tools, I always prep the hair with heat protection, and I want to have a lot of memory and hold with this as well. So I'm using Redken's Iron Shape Heat Styling Spray, and this is going to protect the hair. Also, guys, really important to comb through our sections before we apply any hot tools. Now, what this does is get rid of any of those tangles that are tangled up in there and bends in the hair. When we apply a hot tool to a knotted area, you're just imprinting that knot and that tangle even more into the hair. Okay, so taking this section now, we're going to do the ruffle wave. On what temperature should you use on your client's hair? Great question. So it definitely depends on the client and the type of hair that you're working with. Sammy was talking about before, you know, working with hair as if it's a fabric. So somebody might have hair that's like silk, somebody's hair might be like wool, or somebody's strong like denim or cotton. Understanding that texture is really important to determine your heat setting. But what I love about our tools are that we have a color treated setting. So if I have a client with color on their hair, which 99% of them do, I'm just automatically going to our color treated setting. I know that at that temperature, 392 degrees, my color is going to be safe and it's not going to fade off of my client's hair. Great question. Do you recommend alternating different curl patterns on the same client? I love to do that because it makes it less uniform and really mixes it up and gives it a little bit more texture and volume. So it depends on the look that you're creating. If you're looking for a modern texture, a modern finish to give them, then mixing it up definitely is a great option. If you're looking for more glamour, more soft, polished looks, keeping it all in the same direction is going to help give you that. Okay, guys, so here we go with the ruffle wave. So my iron, my spoon is down on the bottom. I'm opening up that iron, I'm sliding that in, and this is important. Before I close this, see what happens if I close this and my hand's down here? I'm gonna get a hard line in the hair. So it's important that as I go to close my spoon, I am moving that hair up and around that barrel. I'm gonna let that sit there and heat up, and then I'm gonna slide that iron out. I'm gonna flip it over. Now my spoon is on top. I slide it right below that last curl, and I don't pull the hair out. I keep it there, and now my ends are coming under the iron. So really important to not spin the iron. That's a good way to get hard lines with this technique. So if you're wanting to avoid those, keeping your iron in a neutral position with the spoon on the top or the bottom, and the ends of the hair are what are moving. Taking that iron out, flipping it out, now my spoon's on the bottom, going in, grabbing those ends and pulling them up and around the top of that barrel. How are you doing, guys? This is something you're seeing a lot out there. It's super easy to create, and it's just giving us something other than the waves and the curls that we've been doing for so long. Trends are lasting forever with social media now, and I don't know about you, but I'm ready for something different, and if we are, then our clients definitely are. So it's nice to have some things in your back pocket for when we return that we're able to offer them. That's something different. Imagine how exciting that is for them. Okay. All right, so there's the ruffle wave. The color treated temp setting, is that on all Sammy tools? Yes, it is. So all of our irons, here's our texture iron, has low, color treated, and high. So the color treated is your medium setting, and low is going to be at 375. Color treated is at 392, and then high is going to be at 410. So really depending on your client's texture of hair and if they have color or not is going to help you determine which setting. Can these looks be achieved as easily with the spring barrel curling iron? They can. You're going to want to be careful with the spring loaded. I wish I had one over here. You have a little less control with opening and closing that. So just be really aware that when you open that and close that iron, that it's not closing really hard on the hair. This is a very gentle close, and I'm sliding the barrel in and gently closing as the hair moves around. I almost keep it open some of the time because that's not really what I'm needing to create this. Great question. Thank you, guys. So when we have this ruffle wave, it's a really nice kind of texture that you can wear for multiple days, and it gets softened as you brush it out. Would you use this method for Hollywood glam? Yes, I definitely would. I think that this could be really polished and really beautiful. If you did everything in the same direction, imagine the amount of big waves and polish that you could get with that. I also love this for creating very frothy, angelic looks if I'm working on a style. Something a little bit more boho, a little bit more organic. By just separating these ruffles, a little bit of a tease happens in there and a lot of volume. So I'm just taking a ruffle and just grabbing a little bit of those ends and then spreading that curl apart, and look at that frothiness that you get. So if you're going for something a little bit more avant-garde, a little bit more volume, you can definitely go there. What do you use to prep? So to prep the hair, we use Redken's Iron Shape to apply to each section before we place a hot tool on it. I live by this product. I love how soft it is. It doesn't feel like there's anything in the hair. It doesn't make it crunchy or hard. I apply it, spray it on dry hair, comb it through, and then go in with my hot tool. And the difference in memory and hold is amazing versus not using it. So for those clients that say, oh, my hair never curls, well, try using the Iron Shape and you will be amazed at the amount of hold and memory that you get with that. So I really just love playing with this ruffle wave and frothing that out. Does sectioning matter? So I'm doing horizontal sections here on this side just to demonstrate. When I'm working on a client, I really like using diagonal sections in all of my styling almost. It just really helps to eliminate any hard lines afterwards and trying to hide those hard lines. So that's a great question. When I'm doing any upstyling or taking any curls, I like to work with diagonal lines. So here we go with the ruffle wave on a diagonal, and it's really beautiful this way as well. Let me turn her so you guys can see. Okay, I'm gonna work backwards here for you. Where's my color? Okay, and I'm going to apply the Iron Shape. Here we go. Just spraying down the hair section and then combing through. All right, so let me show you this ruffle wave on a diagonal section. Let's see if I can do this upside down. Okay, so when I'm at the crown here, it's up to you if you want the volume to be on top, or for me right now, I'm liking the volume to sit down a little. So I'm gonna go in and I'm going to place my barrel on the top and my spoon is on the bottom. I'm gonna go in. As I gently close that spoon, I'm wrapping the ends up and over that barrel and just letting it sit there. And then I slide that barrel out. I flip my iron, so now the spoon is on top and the barrel's on the bottom. And I'm going in from where I left off and closing that barrel. My ends are wrapping underneath. And my iron is just sitting there heating up the hair, where I'm not turning it or moving it in any way. What are ways to adjust this technique for above shoulder length hair? So if I was doing this on someone with hair above their shoulders, I would probably focus more on the hair above the round so that we're not going on the hair below the round and really making that puff out too much, kind of keeping that length down through the ends and just affecting the hair that sits on top. Great question, because a lot of the times it's hard to know how to create these textures on hair that's shorter. So that's my go-to method is I kind of work from the above the round of the head and up, working my texture through there, and then just manipulating the ends that are hanging down below a little bit if they need a little bit of polish or bend to them. Okay, guys, now just continuing down this section. Does the size of curling iron matter? It's up to you. I'm using the 1 inch, the 1.5 inch. is going to give you a much softer result. And so, yeah, just depending on what you're looking for and the length of the hair. So if they have really short hair or medium length hair, I like to work with the 1 inch. If they have really long hair, the 1.5 works well for that look too and that length. Okay, so here it is at a diagonal, and I really love the movement that we get from that. Can everybody see? All right, and then from there, like I said, you could go through and just really froth that out. I always wish that I had big curly hair and I have the opposite. So for me, this is like a dream come true. If I could just like walk around with a big fro of curls, I would love that. And so this is something that can get you a lot of volume and a lot of texture. Sometimes it's hard for me to make a curl stay on thick hair. Any tips on how to make that curl stay? Great question. So let me share a way that I see this a lot, and I'll just do this front section here so you can see. This segment is going to be a lot of texture happening, so there's going to be texture all over. Each of these girls are going to be wearing multiple textures, so bear with me. And so if you had a client with really thick hair, what is really important, one, is the product that we apply, making sure that we are using the product with memory and hold, applying that evenly to the hair. And then when you go in with your curling iron, we want to be starting right here. The ends are going to be coming in last because these are the oldest. They don't need to be in the iron as long. They're more dry, more damaged. And the weight of the hair is going to pull out this curl if it's not set well in there. So going through and starting here with your curl and really working that through, letting that heat up that first 2 inches of the hair and down the hair shaft, and just really working that whole middle section in. Can you see well? And here's my ends, they're hanging out. Now, just because we're not curling these as long doesn't mean we just drop them out. It's so important that we always finish the ends. So if I'm going to drop that out, I'm going to still pull through these ends. Some of them look a little bit softer ends, not as curled. Now, once you have that curl and you have a stubborn hair type that doesn't like to curl, you're going to want to clip that and let it set and cool in that shape. That's going to help a ton in holding that curl and keeping that memory. So I just did that curl away from her face, and we're letting that set. Does that help with your question? Do you ask guests to come in with clean hair? Do you have a preference whether it's blow dried or air dried? So when my guests are coming in, if they have curly hair and I'm just doing a haircut on them, I'm not doing color, then I would ask them to come in with their hair clean and in its natural curl state, so that I usually start my curly haircuts dry first, and I do a majority of the cut dry and working with their texture, and then I would go back and shampoo them and clean everything up wet. And restyle them. So yes, I definitely love to have them come in with clean hair. If I'm doing an up style, I would like them to have clean hair, at least washed the day before, and no heavy products, just shampoo and conditioner. And then from there, I apply the products that their hair type needs. And I always start with a directional blow dry of some sort. So what I mean by that, our client comes in and let's say her hair is like this. It's clean. But the look that I'm wanting to do on her is, let's say, something that is going to be moving back and up. So great, she came in with clean hair. I'm going to go in now and do a directional blow dry so that I can get the hair moving in the direction I want. If I'm wanting this hair to move in a smooth and sleek to back style, if it's dried like this, I'm never going to get that. I need to redirect the roots into the direction I want that hair to move, and I need to do it by starting with wet hair. So to save time and not have to do a full blowout on her before I do her style, I'm gonna go in with a product, either Iron Shape to act as my water or Guts to act as my water. This is a volumizing mousse from Redken. And so with this step, I'm killing two birds with one stone. I'm wetting the hair so I can redirect it and manipulate it. And I'm building strength, volume, and control with my product of choice. So going in, I'm going to be focusing on this area. I'm going to go in and just apply this to her root area. I'm going to work that in and get that all worked throughout her root. And then using my 9-row brush from Zambia and my blow dryer with the nozzle on, I would go in and start leafing that hair back. So let me turn her so you can see. So what I mean by that, taking my brush, I'm taking the outside rows of my bristles. I'm going in, I'm gripping that hair. You could see that tension that I have. And I'm going in with my blow dryer. I'm not going to turn it on just so that you guys can hear me. I'm going to go in and I'm going to blow dry that root directly back. So my brush is gripping the hair and my blow dryer is following that tension and directing that hair all back to where I want that style to take place. So this is a huge time saver. Instead of having to start with wet hair and dry it and do all the prep work, I can just focus on the areas that I need to. And following along at home, are these curls good prep on my mannequin for your boho bridal class? Yes, you got it. So ruffle waves are definitely going to be included in the boho bridal as one of the textures that I'm working with. So great job, practice on your mannequin. Get those ruffle waves in there and you'll be set up for success. Great question. Now look at that spring and that memory that we have there. That curl is not going anywhere, and your client with the really stubborn hair that doesn't want to curl is going to be so happy that you learned this new trick. So hopefully that helps. For me, dirty hair has worked better than that and that I was taught. So I'm sorry, I can't read this morning. So why do you recommend clean hair? I was taught that as well. So I remember when I first started having them come in with dirty hair. Well, here's the thing. On our wedding day or on the day of a special event, who wants to have dirty hair? You're hugging all these people. You want to make sure that your hair is clean, that it smells good, and nobody wants to have dirty hair on their big day. So for me, styling-wise, I'd rather put in the products that I know are going to get me the end results and that I can work with versus having oil or buildup and things in the hair that might make it very hard for me to get the end results that I'm looking for. And we definitely don't want to have to spend the time to shampoo and blow dry beforehand. So coming in with clean hair, from there I can do my directional blow dries, apply the products where I need them, and get the results that I'm needing. So great question. Try it on curly hair or clean hair and see how it works for you. Okay, guys, I want to talk about the texture iron really quick. Okay, so here we have a Dutch braid that is just on her natural texture. I didn't apply any texture iron to that, and you can see that this is a pretty slender. So a lot of the times our clients are coming in with these pictures that are these beautiful big braids, and they might have hair like mine that's really fine. And when you go to put that braid in, it's like micro. You're trying to like pull it apart and it's just not happening. So what a lifesaver our texture iron is for that. When you have that client wanting that braid, or maybe you're using this braid as a foundation, like we learned about yesterday, using braids as foundation. Same thing, if your client has really fine hair, your foundational braid is going to be very micro. So if you want to go in and use the texture iron, you can already see how much fuller this hair is. Let me bring you a little closer. And you can see I texturized this area already. And look at that volume and fullness that we get. So I'm going to demonstrate how to use that. So I'm just using it in the area I'm going to be placing the braid for now. So I'm not doing the entire head. I'm just doing the area that's going to be affected by the braid. So taking a section about this wide, the thinner the section, the more texture you're going to get. The wider the section, the softer the texture is going to get. Oh, this is my flat iron, guys. Sorry about that. I'm like, that's interesting. Okay, here's the texture iron. You can see the plate. So going in, creating that texture. You can really start to see that take place. So when you just do the texture, you can see how strong that is. When you go to brush it out, it just softens and becomes this really nice frothy volume. And the amount of grip and hold you're going to have, your braids are going to be so much easier to achieve, and the volume you're going to get from them is going to make you so happy. So this is great, like I said, for your foundational braid that you're hiding within your client style. To really fatten that up so that you have more grip, more volume in that braid, and you don't have a little micro toothpick braid hiding in there. That's not going to do you a lot of good. We're going to talk about texture and bridal hair later today in my second segment, and we're going to be doing some boho bridal. So these are going to really come into play there. So I'm going to just finish this section a little bit for you because I want you to see this braid. So the texture iron's great for braids, but it's also great for affecting the root area. So if I have somebody who struggles with creating volume on her hair, I'll just do that amount and do it right underneath her part, lay that smooth hair over top, and the amount of volume she gets is so incredible. So that helps a lot for the clients. You can see that just popping off the head there. So sharing that with your fine-haired clients, they're going to love you. I'm going to now take this section. I measured and made sure that it was the same width as our section we did not texture, so that way you could see the difference in volume. And I'm just going to start doing a Dutch braid here. So taking my sections and just crossing them underneath. So picking up a section of hair and crossing that underneath. I know this isn't a braiding class, but might as well share it while I'm doing it. Working with 3 strands, and the hair is moving underneath versus over the top. That would be like a French braid. Yeah, hi Andrew.
Hi, buddy. Hey, just keep working because you're doing fantastic. I'm just gonna kind of field a couple questions that have been coming up. So people have been asking kind of specifically what's the difference between a texture iron and a crimping iron.
Oh.
And so the big difference between our texture iron and a traditional crimping iron is the depth and the shape of the texture. So crimping irons kind of have these really strong peaks to them, almost like these super hard edges. The texture iron actually has slight curvatures on the plates, so it's more of a U shape than a pointed shape, so it's softer and subtler. Plus, it's also more shallow than a traditional crimping iron. because really what we're trying to achieve is just volume and fullness with the crimping, or with the texture iron. We're not trying to make like a hard visual statement necessarily. So for those of you that are asking if it's important to use that or not important, if you're looking for more grip to your style, if you're looking for more fullness to the style, then that's where the texture iron really comes in handy. More so than if you're looking for like visual impact, because if you're looking for almost that 80s super frizzy texture, or like the 80s super crimped texture, it's not necessarily going to give you that super hardcore or frizzy texture. So hope that helps.
Awesome questions today, guys. I hope this is helping, giving you some new inspiration for when you get back into the salon. But you can see the difference that I'm able to get. So even if I try to spread these out, the hair is so silky that it just slides right back in. So using the texture iron through this braid, when I go and pull this out, I can just go to town and it's really gonna hold a lot longer. And that was the same size section, same braid. Will the final look of the braid have a bumpy finish to it? Yes, so you'll see a little bit of that, but like I said, if you had brushed through this texture first, when you brush through it, it just softens a little bit, so you don't see as much of the bumpiness, if you want to call it, in the braid. So yeah, here I didn't brush through it, I just started braiding it so that you could really see that. All right, great. So that's one way that I love to use the texture iron in upstyling.
Sorry to keep jumping in, Anna.
No,
But I did want to just add one thing too. If you don't like that visual texture, there's tons of different ways that you can adjust the visual texture. So one thing that we'll do is we'll actually weave the hair before we do the texture iron, which it does take a little bit more time. But if you have a client that you need that volume and fullness, you can do kind of like a really fine weave through this section, texture that section, and then bring back in the other hair. So now you have a blend of smooth hair and the textured hair. So it's much, much more subtle. Because that's something that comes up pretty often in classes, like, oh, I don't like to see the texture. So there's tons of ways you can adjust that. You can also adjust the size of section, how hard you compress. So lots of ways to adjust that.
A woven version of that, what he's talking about, just doing a highlight of that texture through the hair. Now, if you did that all over, she's going to have these nice full little ribbons throughout her hair and not as much visual impact that you're going to see with the texture. Okay, guys, great. So I wanted to show a way when I'm doing my sets. So maybe we're doing a curl set on a client. And what I would run into before, and I kept hearing from stylists and seeing them kind of struggle with, was we would do a curl set. We'd take them out, the clips out, brush our hands through the curls, maybe run a brush through it, pick the curls back up, go back in, tease that section, and all the while we're just disrupting the curl that we just worked so hard to create, this beautiful polished curl. So if you're doing sets for bridal parties or any type of upstyling or just a beautiful curl set that you're gonna brush out, which I love that, try this next time. So taking your texture iron, these also turn off after about 60 minutes of not being used. So it's really wonderful. I have been on the road out of town, and about an hour outside, I realized I left my irons on, was like pretty sure. And with all the kids in the car, there was no way I was gonna turn around and go back. So I just realized, you know what? I have my Samvia iron plugged in. It's gonna shut off after 60 minutes, so we're good. Okay, guys, let me make sure you can see this. So I'm going in and I'm texturizing the root, the base of my curl. And then I'm going to go in with my iron and I'm going to then do my curl set over that texture. So now I have that built-in volume. I'm not going to have to go back and tease, and it gives me a more modern type of volume as well. We're not really seeing a lot of teased volume styles, so this is going to give you some lift and some volume, but in a more kind of natural and modern way. So when I take that out, I would just go in and clip that, let that cool, and then I could go in afterwards and just massage that root area and fluff up that texture that I created there. And I'm going to get a ton of volume, but I'm not having to tease it. So it's really a nice modern set that you can do on your clients when you're doing up styles. Okay, great. So also I wanted to share with you guys today some iron work with the flat iron, and a way that we're using that same kind of thing with the ruffle wave, but now we're going vertically with it. So you can use your flat iron, you can use your curling iron, either one. Let me find an area that I have not curled yet. We'll move to the back here. Okay. All right, let me brush through her. So going in with my brush, guys, if you're brushing out tangles, going in vertically is going to be really helpful. I had just really kind of opened up and created a lot of volume with that ruffle wave, and now I'm going to go back in and just kind of brush that out. So I'm taking my brush and just going vertically down the hair and just using this area of my brush to get those tangles out, versus going in horizontally. It's going to get a lot more tension that way, and if there's a lot of tangles in there, she's going to feel it. So okay, guys, here we go with a flat iron, and we're taking sections using my iron shape. Now, just like our ruffle wave went out and in, this one's going to be going side to side. So taking my iron, going sideways, you could see I get that little bit of curl. Now dropping my iron in, holding that curl, and going the opposite way with my iron, and really just starting to create a little bit of confusion with our curl patterns. It's going to give it a more natural effect when it's all brushed out and sprayed, versus our typical styles that we've been seeing, these vertical curls with the ends hung out a little bit straighter. So going in again, taking my iron, turning one turn around, pulling, dropping that out, going in where that curl left off, turning my iron one turn, then going the opposite way, and just getting these nice changes in direction. It's going to blend really well with natural curly texture, as well as if you have somebody with fine straight hair and they're just wanting to have a new kind of bend to their hair. I've been having a lot of fun with this, and I love mixing this with the ruffle wave as well, and just kind of polishing out those ends. All right, so we did our natural curly hair, and we talked about, so natural curly hair, when we're using an iron on it, it's definitely going to have more polish than the natural curls that you see in there. So I love to use Redken's Fashion Work spray for my natural curly hair, as well as any styling that I'm doing. It's a really soft, workable hairspray. And it has a satin, there we go, satin matte finish. So it's gonna be more like the finish of a natural curly hair versus hair that's been curled with an iron can get a little bit too shiny sometimes, too perfect. So we want to kind of give it more of a natural finish, so that satin matte finish is going to be really great. All right, guys, so just going in, one turn around, dragging that iron through, going back where I left off, and going the opposite way, and dragging that iron through. And always finishing the ends. The ends are the driest, oldest part of the hair, so they need a little bit of love, and we might not leave the irons there as long, but it's important that we do finish them at least all the way to the ends. How do you curl hair with a straightener without frying the hair? Great question. Make sure you have it on the right setting for your client's hair. And then with that, just going through and making sure that you don't leave the iron there too long and that it's constantly moving through the hair, I think is the most important part for creating curls. We got a lot of different directions going here. Let me find a section. There we go.
Hey, Anna.
Yeah.
I wanted to show this too because this is new. Come on, focus on that.
Oh, yeah. Redkins. Yes, they're placing.
I'm trying to get it to focus. There we go.
So I fell in love with that product, using it on everybody before I would start their blow dry. It makes the hair feel so much stronger. So it has the heat protection in it. It's a leave-in treatment. It has heat protection in it up to 450, I believe it is. And the hair feels thicker and stronger from it. And it's a really nice creamy consistency that just blends beautifully into the hair for a blowout. And then when I go in with my irons afterwards, I already know I have that heat protection in there. So guys, a lot of the time, I'm really just curling the crown area that sits on top of these ends. And this is something that's really great to share with our clients because they don't need to go in and curl every hair starting from their nape up. If they wake up and they have a little bit of bend naturally in their hair, talk to them about just affecting and curling the hair that sits above the round of their head. So what do we mean by that? Placing their hands on the side of their head, when your fingers are able to curl in, that is the round of your head. So finding that area for them and talk to them. All you need to focus on is just that area. Now I go in, and if I see anything that's a little too straight or needs to be polished a little, then I just go in and grab those sections. But really making it easier for them and saving them time is going to be so much value you can give to them. How are you doing?
Beautiful, Anna.
Oh, thanks.
Tons and tons of good tips and tricks for these guys today.
Lots of text.
You can tell in the comments. You got lots and lots of comments on how excited they are to see these different things, and yeah. So guys, one thing that I wanted to bring up to you is that we do have some new opportunities that we're just launching this week. You can actually bring the ArTeam live in, well, digitally live, safely live right now into your home, into your salon if you want. So we're offering a thing called the Artist Studio Live, and you can book these through samvia.com. It's easy to go to samvia.com, and underneath the education tab, you'll see the artist booking. So basically, you can book hour, 2 hour, 3 hour on lots of different topics, and you can have Jesse, Anna, or me come in and basically do live classes for you. So just wanted to bring that up because that's something that we're going to start launching now, especially because we know a lot of you are stuck at home, but you want to continue learning. So very cool.
So important that we keep learning through this time. And I feel so thankful to be part of this industry that we're able to continue to grow while we're forced to stop working. You know, we're gaining so much in this time and growing so much. And not every industry has that option, you know. So for me,
Yeah.
it keeps me sane. And I feel like I've been working probably every day through quarantine, you know, on these ladies. Thank you, Pivot Point, for your amazing mannequins. They have saved me tremendously through this time in allowing me to still do what I love and what I'm passionate about. And, you know, it's like I have all these friends with me in the empty salon every day that we're able to work on. So all the mannequins are 15% off too at Pivot Point if you guys are wanting to grab your own friends to hang out with at home. They are quarantine safe and beautiful hair that you can work on. So I highly encourage you to keep learning and try these new things that you're discovering. You know, don't just watch, actually get your hands in some hair and try them because you'll be so much more grounded.
Awesome. Great job, Anna. Thank you so much. Guys, we will see you back in just a little bit from my class called Today's Pixie at 1:15 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to run back there, and you can kind of see her back there in the corner, but she just needs a little bit more touch-up before we get started. So Anna will be back on at 2:30 for the boho bridal class. I know a lot of you are asking about like backcombing and stuff like that. And I'm sure Anna will touch on some of that stuff with the boho bridal class. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Bye.
Hey guys, I'm back. I just got a message that I completely forgot to do something, and that was to announce the winner for this segment's giveaway. The winner is, finally, someone from the West Coast. We got Kelly Albright from Aliso Viejo, California. So congratulations, Kelly. You're the winner. See you guys in a minute.